There are 7 rings to hell in Hazbin Hotel and Helluva Boss, but to date we have only seen 3 of them. We made videos breaking down the Pride Ring as well as one for the Wrath Ring, so now it's time to go back to episode 2 and take a look at everything we know about the Greed Ring, and more importantly, everything we do not know. My name is Deepcut, welcome back to Cartoon Universe, and real quick, I just want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Squarespace, the perfect platform for you to build any website you can dream of. Each of the 7 rings of hell is modeled after one of the 7 deadly sins, with the greed ring of course being the sin of greed. As such, there is a big focus on making money in the ring. Like the other rings, greed is ruled by one of the 7 princes who embody their deadly sins, matching the real-life classification of demons by Peter Binsfield. To date, we have only had a look at 2 of these princes, the first being Lucifer, who we see in portraits around the Hazbin Hotel, as well as a quick look at what people presume to be Asmodeus in the Ring of Lust that we saw in the trailer. We have not seen the Prince of Greed, Mammon, but when Fizzaroli is showing us some official documents from Loo Loo Land, we can see that Mammon has signed a document, and ends it with the drawing of what looks like a jester with 3 points on his hat. This has led many fans to believe that Mammon will be a more powerful version of Fizzaroli or Robofizz, and that perhaps there are species of demons in the Greed Ring that are clown or jester themed as well. This is further cemented by the drawing of a jester demon with a 3-pointed hat that appears on Hell's version of currency called Souls. That being said, we don't really see any new species in the 1 episode we spend in the Greed Ring. While there, we spend all of our time at Loo Loo Land, a gimmicky theme park that caters primarily to, as well as employs, mostly imps. Presumably, they would mostly be the imps inhabiting the city that we can see in the distance outside of the park, but Millie notes that she and her family would come here whenever they could afford it. And considering how fast the imp crew is able to get here at a moment's notice to spend the day, it is possible that some, or even most of the other imps, simply traveled in from other rings that day. In the Wrath Ring, there is a large focus on violence and war, with the people naturally believing it to be the most enjoyable part of their life, which plays into the theme of wrath. In the Pride Ring, the Earthborn sinners focus quite a bit on becoming more powerful and becoming overlords, with a large part of the culture being about obeying these overlords, playing into the theme of pride. In the Greed Ring, however, things don't seem set up to encourage greed from the average citizen, but rather things are built to ensure that Mammon's greedy needs are personally met. One such way is through Loo Loo Land itself, which is extremely overpriced, with a lot of their booths being obvious scams designed to steal your money. Loo Loo Land is apparently a ripoff of another in-world theme park known as Loo Loo World. Loo Loo World is spelled L-U-L-U to play off of the name of Lucifer, who created the theme park. Loo Loo Land has it spelled L-O-O-L-O-O in order to avoid lawsuits from Lucifer. It's normal to want to make money in life, particularly doing something you love, and we have heard from VivziePop behind the scenes that Lucifer is very focused on his theme park and seems to take great pride in it. While I'm sure it's still a price gouger, he is the Prince of Hell after all, it is implied to be both better and more fairly priced than the Loo Loo Land knockoff. This really highlights the idea of what can make greed sinful, by divorcing your desire for money from any other interests, simply stealing products that other people were passionate about making and turning them into nothing but a moneymaker. Loo Loo Land is such a ripoff of Loo Loo World that the entire theme park is covered in Apple imagery, something Lucifer even includes in his personal fashion choices, as references to the fruit from the tree of forbidden knowledge that the serpent tricked Eve into eating in the book of Genesis. There's even a ride in particular whose entrance looks exactly like a demonic version of Lucifer's face, with even more Lucifer references inside. Robofizz even highlights this intellectual theft by literally singing part of Charlie's song from the Hazbin Hotel pilot, but to introduce Loo Loo Land instead of the hotel. Despite how obvious all this theft is, and Lucifer outranking Mammon in the prince's hierarchy, all Mammon had to do to keep his park going is change the name of it, as well as other small meaningless things to fig leaf the copyright infringement going on. We've got more fun facts about the Greed Ring to break down, but really quick, I just want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Squarespace. Squarespace is an amazing platform that you can build pretty much any site you can imagine on, with plenty of options for creatives and professionals, offering both a way to build their fan base and unique ways to interact with your audience, such as private member options. We're using our site to make hasbinlore.squarespace.com, a website where we are cataloging all of the behind-the-scenes information on Hazbin Hotel and Helluva Boss to give fans an accurate resource on the show's information and history. You can create your own Hazbin site, create a shop to sell your art, or start building a community around your animations. Just head on over to squarespace.com for a free trial. And use squarespace.com/cartoonuniverse or coupon code cartoonuniverse at checkout to get 10% off when your site is ready to go live. If you end up making any cartoon-themed sites, make sure to share them with me on Twitter. I'd love to see them. Each of the 7 rings of hell appear to have their own uniquely colored sky. The Wrath Ring originally had a dusty, almost purple sky in the trailer, but in the final episode, a sunset gradient was added to it. The Pride Ring, on the other hand, has a more devilishly red sky that we tend to imagine when thinking about hell. The Greed Ring, by contrast, has a bit more of a minty green color to it, similar to the color of American money. At night, the sky gets considerably darker, and stars appear. The only other prominent location we know of in the Greed Ring at the moment is Mint City, a place mentioned on the Veroska Band Tour t-shirt sold at the Hazbin Hotel merchandise store for some time. Its name seems to be a reference to the minting process of money, which indicates that, similarly to how Wrath produces all of the food for Hell, the Greed Ring may be where all the money is printed, as well as a place where Mammon can squeeze it back out of the people who earned it and back into his pockets. We have not seen or heard much else about the Greed Ring outside of Loo Loo Land, but I imagine that as Helluva Boss gets into Season 2, we will start getting more in-depth looks at these rings, the way we have with the recent adventure to the Ring of Wrath, perhaps showcasing what kind of demons live there and what their lifestyles are like living under, and probably for, their Prince Mammon. Finally, before we wrap things up, I just want to clarify the origins of Robofizz. While we associate him with the Greed Ring and his likeness with Mammon, he is just one of many robots mass-produced to look like a popular demon escort, Fizzarali, a jester demon who we will be seeing when the gang finally goes to the Ring of Lust, where he appears to come from. He is so popular that he is even on cereal boxes as we saw in episode 2, and has billboards advertising Robofizzes you can purchase above Moxie and Millie's apartment in the Pride Ring, so he's not really from the Greed Ring himself, so may not be a hint at what other demons there may look like, despite his similarities to Mammon. That is all I could find about the Greed Ring thus far, but there is always more information coming, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of it, and be sure to check out that link for Squarespace in the description and pinned comment down below. See you next time!